Coaching on any college level is always a collaborative effort. Is it more of a collaborative effort this season at Richmond?
I think so. There's no doubt. I'm going to really have to rely on the staff. As I mentioned earlier, I keep mentioning Coach Trott and Coach Legg and the rest of the guys on the staff. I mean, this is really a group effort. We're going to work our tails off, but those guys are going to really be kind of the backbone to help me and help us along and to get the most out of these kids.
Do you know if Coach Scott intends to or has addressed the team?
He has not yet. We will certainly be in discussion about that, but that has not been determined yet.
Do you think that's an important thing for the team for him to do, or are you kind of ambivalent about it?
I plan to talk to him about that and see what his thoughts are on it first, and then we'll go from there. But you know, we'll kind of cross that bridge as we get further into it.
Is there any change in routine, practice routine, film routine, meeting routine, or are you going to try to keep it as consistent?
We're going to, for this week for sure right now, keep it as much as we can. Obviously, we have a certain parameters as far as class schedule-wise we kind of have to fit in there anyway, based on when they're in class and when they're not in class. So it has to be a similar structure as far as that goes. Maybe we'll, as we talk about it as a staff, kind of maybe juggle a few things here and there as far as practice schedule and different things in different parts of practice. But by and large, we're going to keep the same routine, especially through this week, and then readdress coming up next week.
Hey, Coach. Andrew Prezioso from the Collegian. You said that you're going to stay as offensive coordinator as well as being head coach. Any thoughts that you might be taking on too much, especially as a first-time head coach?
Well, like I said earlier, I think when we're doing it, you know, I think just keeping continuity on the offense, keeping continuity on the defense, keeping continuity on the special teams is the most important thing now that we have to do. And I think, like I said, I really trust Coach Trott and Coach Legg to handle those phases of the game, and I feel like I can still manage the offense along with handling the head coaching duties. Sure, it's not going to be easy, but I think I'm prepared to do that. And I've been fortunate to be around, you know, Coach Clausen, who's done it. And I don't know if I'm supposed to mention a William Mary guy at a Richmond press conference, but I was around Jimmy Laycock for 6 years, who's about as good as they come. And I learned a lot from him about how to manage things. And so I've had some good influence in seeing guys do it. Hopefully I'll be even close to what some of those guys are, because they're as good as they come, Clausen and Laycock. So, but I've seen it done, and it can be done. So that's the plan right now, and that's how we're going to move forward.
Coach, have you thought about what you have had to accomplish, or what you have to accomplish this year to prove that you're more than just a one-year head coach at the University of Richmond?
We just got to take it one day at a time. You know, we can't worry about, you know, the end of the year right now. We just got to go day by day, game by game, and do the best we can. You know, and then we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And you know, I always tell the guys, control what you can control, and that's going to be one of the big things for us. Control what we control each week. Try to do the best we can. At the end of the year, we'll see where we are and go from there.
Coach Sean Robertson with CBS 6. You had mentioned about the fact that you grew up in a coaching family. How will that prepare you for what you're about to partake? Because now the spotlight is going to be on you as being the head coach.
Well, I mean, I got a lot of people to talk to, which is nice. You know, a lot of people I can draw from experience-wise. You know, not only in football coach, my brother's the athletic director at Radford University, so I can administratively get some advice from him, along with the coach, with Jim and with David and the guys on the administrative side of it. And but yeah, I can certainly draw from my family to get some insight and advice on how to deal with things. But more than that, just watching how they've done in the past. I think watching and learning is the best way to, experience-wise, as far as to do it, and then I got to do it on my own. But I've had a lot of good mentors as far as how to go about doing this job.
Coach, I know captains were named this weekend. I also know as an offensive coordinator and as a head coach, you're a little bit closer to the quarterback position. I don't know if you wouldn't mind naming some names of guys that you're going to turn to as leaders on this team to help you in this unusual time.
Well, I mean, called the captains in yesterday, talked to all those guys and told them, pulled aside a lot of the defensive leaders. Actually, there's one right back there, Darius McMillan, Cooper Taylor, Darrell Hamilton. Talked to a lot of the guys on defense, the guys I don't have as much dealings with on a day-to-day basis, but those guys are going to be as important as anybody, as important as the coaches, you know, just the fact that they're buying in and moving forward and putting the team on their back along with us coaches and carrying this thing forward. But so there's a lot of guys, obviously the 5 captains we got named, and then certain guys in the upper classes that we'll lean on to really help us, you know, with this transition. So.
Coach, Charlie Leffler, Mechanicsville Local. Would you mind clarifying something? You talked about contacting the recruits, and this still falls under NCAA regulations. What were you limited to as far as how you could contact them? And
we just can't contact. September 1st is the first time you can make a phone call by NCAA rules. So until then, we can't contact them by phone. They would have to contact us or through email.
Wayne, have you talked to Luttrell, and would you plan on talking to Luttrell as this process continues?
I talked to him briefly, and certainly, you know, like I told you before, a dear friend, and we've communicated back and forth, and he's willing to help anything he can to help me, and you know, I would expect nothing less. And I told him that anything I'd ever do to help him, you know, it's the same way.
Anything else for Coach Lineburg?
You were a government major. What was Plan B?
What was Plan B? It really wasn't a Plan B. My dad always wanted me to go to law school, as a matter of fact. He told me, why are you going to do all this coaching business when you can go to UVA and get a great degree, and why don't you go to law school? But that really wasn't a Plan B, so doing what I love to do.
Was a government major in preparation for the possibility of going to law school?
It was, and plus I thought about getting an education, but I wanted to go 4 years so I could get out in 4 years and get right into coaching. So it would have been a 5-year plan at Virginia, so that's why I did that. As a matter of fact, I had a history teacher. One of my history teachers was Dr. Ayers in an intro to American history class. So.
Did he have any recollection of you?
No, because it's a class of about 400. Unlike Richmond, where it's a small, nice 9-to-1 student-faculty ratio, it was about a 400-person class, so I could sit in the back row and he wouldn't know. But he's as good a teacher. He's really the best teacher I had at the University of Virginia.
What did you get in that class?
I think I got a B+.
Jim, obviously what transpired yesterday kind of changes the way maybe supporters look at the season, maybe how much anticipation. What kind of reaction have you got from boosters?
It's been a mix of, we're sorry this happened, it's disappointing that it happened, but the prevailing opinion has been what a great statement it makes about the University of Richmond, about what we're committed to, a confidence in the future, and it's been a very positive reaction to what we have going forward and to Coach Lineburg.
Hey, Jim, if I can ask one more about Luttrell. I know last night was Luttrell's night, but if I could throw in one more. If you were called and asked for a recommendation, what would your response be?
Well, since I did go to law school, I'm not going to answer that question. Legally, whatever the circumstances are, and somebody leaves the university, we're really not supposed to be talking about that. But I will say this, as I said last night, that everybody involved in this process, whether it's been Coach Scott, Coach Lineburg, Dr. Ayers, David Walsh, the team members I talked to, the assistant coaches I talked with, everybody has handled this in a professional and positive manner.